10.
Bill Rizzuto throwing out the first pitch.
9.
Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Oh!
8.
Lawrence Peter Barra, known to everyone as Yogi, star catcher of the New York Yankees.
7.
Here's the payoff pitch. This is it. There it goes. It's out of here.
6.
This ball club will be remembered by me forever because you have heart as big as this city and you showed what being New Yorkers is all about. God bless you.
5.
Hits in 56 consecutive games. That's an all-time record set by the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
4.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
3.
Number 3 will never be worn by another Yankee player, but will go to America's baseball shrine at Cooperstown, New York.
2.
Derek Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single. Derek Jeter, where fantasy becomes reality.
1.
That's not the way it's going to be, George. Damn right it is. If you don't like it, you're fired. You haven't hired me yet.
Yeah, what is going on, everybody? Happy Monday to everybody out there on YouTube. It is yours truly, the Ace, here with my guy NFE from the Strike Zone. NFE, how you doing, my guy?
We doing good, man. We doing good. Excited for tonight's game. How we feeling?
Yep, I'm excited, and I know you guys are too. What's up to a couple people in the chat? Candace in the building. Nosebleed, John, the Beagle Dad, D's channel. Ray is in the house. 2 Jacobs, Jacob Petruzzi, who's a Yankee fan, and Jacob Frederick, who is a Guardians fan. That should be an interesting matchup when they come in here. Lou's in the building, Beetle Bug, Mr. Barrios, Mr. Cheek Savius. If I missed anybody, Dev, thank you for popping in. If I missed anybody, you guys are amazing. Make sure you guys hit that like button and hit that subscribe. And if you're watching on a rewatch, make sure you hit that notification. I will be live tonight calling game 1 of the ALCS. Guardians versus Yankees. We're here to talk about the Guardians versus Yankees series. But before we get into that, let me get your quick thoughts on the ALDS, NFE. What'd you think about the 3-1 series victory? Yankees finished it out in 4 versus the Royals. What'd you think about that?
I mean, they pulled it off, right? I know some fans had their doubts. I mean, they played a very good Royals team. You know, they definitely were not a team that you wanted to sleep on. But the Yankees pulled it off. Were those wins pretty? They weren't pretty. But the thing with the postseason, those wins aren't going to always be pretty. You're gonna win it in the ugliest way possible sometimes. Although that last game against the Royals, what was that? Game 4. Yep, game 4. That was their best baseball that they played in that series, I would say. But really, the pitching held it down. It was really the bullpen, mainly the bullpen that held it down. The bats slowly but surely started to come around. I mean, Giancarlo, we all saw what he did. He was definitely the MVP of that series. And there's some other bats that need to step it up. But overall, I did like the way the team played. I like the way it was. I like the way the whole series was managed. Throughout that series against the division series against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, definitely. Ken, thank you for that gifted membership. Lose the recipient of that one. Appreciate you.
Nice.
We finished it in 4. I actually predicted that we would go in 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Royals, let me tell you this. I'm very confident in this next series coming up because the DS always makes me a little nervous, not because of who we're playing, even though I do think the Royals are a good team. Shout outs to them. I'm not taking anything away from them, but those short series always do kind of give you a scare because the big difference if, you lose one early or if you lose one early in the CS, you know what I'm saying? Anything could happen in those short series, but the Yankees handled their business. Like you said, Giancarlo Stanton stepped up exponentially. He was definitely the MVP of the series. Luke Weaver stepped up as well. And also another guy that stepped up was Clay Holmes. That series really did seem like the series of the castaway Yankees, the guys that a lot of us Yankee content creators wanted out of there, like Giancarlo Stanton. People were like, we got to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? He stinks. He's too injured. Gleyber Torres might be gone. Clay Holmes might be gone. Alex Verdugo, he had the first good game. Outside of that, nothing really. But other guys stepped up. I was impressed by Anthony Volpe's at-bats. He hit the ball out. He struck out once. He did make a big error. Hit the ball very hard, but a lot of times it was at somebody. I think like he can bode well, have a good series coming up. But the Yankees got it done against a very good Royals team. We're able to shut down Bobby Witt Jr. Like I said, much respect to the Royals. I think it's a matchup that could potentially we can see, again in the future. Maybe we'll see them next year in an ALCS. They're a very good young team. But we're here to focus on tonight's matchup, 7:37 start time versus the Cleveland Guardians, the two best teams in the AL squaring off. It felt like it was kind of inevitable that it would get to this point. Any thoughts, any concerns going forward to this series as game one, Carlos Rodon starting tonight? What are your thoughts on that?
I just hope Rodon can redeem himself from game two against the Royals. Let's hope tonight he can have better success against the Cleveland Guardians. We know he could pitch. We know he's a dog on the mound. He just can't lose confidence in himself. The problem with Rodon is that he gives up one run, and it's like he collapses. He collapses immediately. And, I don't want to say that he pitched bad against the Royals in that last game. And I know some fans feel that he was pulled out of that game too early, which I totally disagree with that. I think Boone made the right decision when it comes to that. But I think going into tonight's game, hopefully this is a boost of confidence for him, saying, hey, we're giving you the ball for game one. We trust you. We believe in you. There's a reason why we signed you to be on this team, and I think Rodon is going to. I think he's going to redeem himself in this game. But my concern isn't really the pitching. There's other areas, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. But I think Rodon's going to be fine. I think that should give him some sort of motivation, because of the fact that Boone made the decision to say, hey, you know what, you're starting game one. We were going back and forth between you and Clark Schmidt, but we trust you to make it happen.
Yeah. Also, I just dropped the link to NFE's channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. He's on the road to 2K. Definitely got to show some support. I'm right there with you. Carlos Rodon had one bad inning where he even said that he put a lot of pressure on himself with that Perez at bat. And once Perez hammered that hanging breaking ball, next thing you know, his confidence was shot and it was all downhill from there. But you have to realize he came out with a lot of energy, a lot of moxie in the first three innings, struck out the side, was telling the guys like, yo, let's fucking go. Like, I was behind it. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, yo, like, I was hyped for that. The first three innings, he looked really good. Then it unraveled in the second time in the middle of the order. And if he can give us the performance of the first three innings, then I think we could pull this W off. With Carlos Rodon starting game one, here's my strategy. If I'm Aaron Boone, I'm having a short leash with Rodon today, especially considering the Guardians play lefties very, very well. They were one of the best teams in the league against lefty pitchers this year. So, and obviously we're one of the teams that are one of the worst when it comes to lefties. Luckily, we're not facing a lot of lefties this time. But I got a short leash for Rodon. I don't mind getting into the bullpen today early because we've had a couple of days off. Garrett Cole's on his regular routine / rest, pitching game two tomorrow. If Cole can give us a great performance like he did in the closeout game versus the Guardians, we might not need bullpen going into the day off before we go to 3 in Cleveland, where we'll have Clark Schmidt, Luis Hill, and then probably Rodon again, and then Garrett Cole. But like I said, I'm having a very, very short leash for Rodon tonight. How is his confidence going to be, especially after that, those unnecessary threats that he was getting in Yankee Stadium? If it was up to me, man, I really probably would have went Clark Schmidt first and kept Rodon away from Yankee Stadium at least for a little while to get some space in between that. But at the same time, too, you don't want to throw him too much off his routine. But let's just hope it works out tonight. But none of that's going to matter if we can't hit. Like the Guardians, second best team in the AL. pitching wise, I definitely give us the advantage pitching wise. Hitting wise, I give us the advantage too. They have a great bullpen, but so do we. We have a solid bullpen as well. Like, I understand they got the best reliever in Clase, so we're going to have to definitely make sure we get off to a lead. But it starts with Rodon. The energy is going to be high. You know the crowd's going to be ready to go. You're going to have to come out, shut them down, and let's get the bats going.
Oh, 100%. Listen, I'm not the most concerned with the pitching, and I'm right there with you. I would have started Clark Schmidt. I would have started Clark Schmidt for game one, but I understand they wanted to go with Rodon for game one, but the pitching is not really my concern with the Yankees. Like you said, I think our starting rotation is better than the Guardians. The bullpen, I'll say this: they match up well with the Guardians because the Guardians have a solid bullpen. They do. I can't take that away from them. So I think his bullpen matches up. I think their bullpen matches up well with the Guardians. So it's gonna be a war of the bullpens. I feel like our bats. That's where my concern is. Now we got the guys that could hit. There's no doubt these guys can hit. The Yankees can hit, but so can they. They got guys in their lineup that can hit. But the situational hitting, you gotta, these guys have to be better with runners in scoring position, not rely so much on the long ball, right? Now, I will say in the division series against the Royals, they did do a good job of scoring runs when it matters. So they played a little bit more of that small ball, at least from what I saw in that series. And I'm sure a lot of people saw the same thing. Now, and I feel like with this lineup that the Yankees are going to face with the Guardians, I feel like they have a better lineup than the Royals do, I think. So I think our pitching can beat them. But again, for me, it's the offense. The bats need to be better. They know how to get on base. They can draw those walks. They could get those hits. But stop messing around with runners on base because I had some stats written down. I don't have it with me, but if you saw how many guys they left on base in the division series,
yep,
and what the stat was for runners in scoring position, it was terrible. It was bad. So
especially out the gate, because we had a chance to really put our foot on their necks early. You know what I'm saying? And Aaron Judge let us down a couple of times. Now, he got hot a little bit later, but I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. But you're right, though. I mean, Judge needs to step it up. Wells needs to step it up. I'm sorry, but, I know if Erica was here, she'd probably kill me. But Wells needs to step it up. He does, and that's not me bashing him. I'm just saying he needs to come around. We know what we're going to get out of Giancarlo Stanton. Also, another guy, Jazz Chisholm. He needs to step it up too. Chisholm didn't really have the greatest of series, but let's hope in this championship series he has a better performance against the Guardians.
Yeah, Chisholm was definitely villainized in that last series, so some of the pressure should be off. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into the keys to the game in a second. Let's go ahead and get to the actual 26-man ALCS roster. So Garrett Cole, Jake Cousins, Luis Hill, Ian Hamilton, Tim Hill, Holmes, Canely, Meza, Rodon, Schmidt, Marcus Stroman back on the roster, and Luke Dream Weaver is there. So we got that's our pitchers right there. Birdie, Rizzo, Gleyber Torres, and Volpe are infielders. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this, I was a little bit nervous because then they had Jazz, which is cut off from this thing. They had Jazz as a utility. And I was like, does that not mean he's starting? I was like, it threw me off for a little bit. And then we have Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham, Judge Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, and Verdugo. So that's the 26-man roster for our New York Yankees. Are there any surprises on here for you? Anything that you were a little bit shocked by?
Not really. I knew Ben Rice, Duke Ellis was going to be taken out. Ben Rice for sure. I knew he was going to be taken out of the roster. Nothing on this.
Also, Trevino, Wells, Oswaldo, and Jazz. It's just cut off on this display. They're right under there. So that's the entire 26 roster.
You're good. No, I'm not surprised. I thought, if Nestor was feeling healthy enough that they would have brought him back, but it doesn't sound like he's not ready. So, and that's fine. Stroman being added back, I'm not surprised. I know a lot of folks didn't want Stroman on there. I didn't really want him on there. I would have added another pitcher myself, but I'm not surprised. I had a feeling he was gonna come back. Rizzo, I was a little surprised by. I know, Boone was saying that he's making progress, but honestly, I wasn't expected to see him in the championship series, but hopefully, he's 100% healthy and, he's in the lineup today. So, we know he's going to have good defense at first base, but you got to give kudos to John Birdie and Oswaldo Cabrera for holding it down in Rizzo's absence.
Yeah. Let's dive into that real quick because okay, Rizzo's out there, which I understand, you know what I'm saying? But I personally, I don't know. I liked what we got from John Birdie and Oswaldo Cabrera. Realistically, I think I forget what content creators put up this stat, but they were saying out of all the 4 teams in the AL, we had the highest OPS from first base outside of everybody there. You know what I'm saying? So those guys were performing well. Cabrera was on base a few times. Birdie really held his own as well. You know what I'm saying? Played great first base. You know what I'm saying? So Rizzo being forced in the lineup, yes, you're going to get an upgrade defensively, but offensively, I feel like we're going to lose something a little bit here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would have had Rizzo come off the bench if you needed to, bring him in for a defensive replacement later on in the game or something, or bring him in as a pinch hitter. I would have started Cabrera today, right? That would have who I would have started, because Cabrera, man, he's a gamer. He's a gamer. I would have started Cabrera today personally. That's who I would have started, but I get it. They're gonna go with Rizzo. I understand, but my pick would have been Cabrera. That's the only thing I would have said about his about this lineup. However, Rizzo's leadership though does play a role. I mean, he does that. That's also a thing. I know. We're talking. We're talking about the bat and all that, but experience does play a role. And Rizzo's been here before.
He's a champion.
So, and he's gotten a World Series before. So, I mean, that it does make a difference.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think I would have gave Cabrera one more game because it's not like defensively we saw a couple of lapses from Birdie and Cabrera where we're like, oh man, in the DS, it's not like we were like, oh man, I can't wait to get Rizzo back. Those guys played really good first base. And I feel like they do bolster you a little bit more offensively, especially with the athleticism, because Cabrera and Birdie can both wreak havoc on the bases as well. And we know Rizzo doesn't really have it. But I'm curious to see, Rizzo was starting to hit a little bit, but he still wasn't showing that pop that I needed from that left side. So he was giving us singles here and there, but, Waldo and Birdie can do that too. So that's a little bit of a head-scratching move. But besides that, the lineup's pretty much the same. Go ahead. You want to call the lineup?
Yeah, definitely, man. Let's do this. Yankees Guardians tonight, 7:37, Yankee Stadium. Starting lineup for the New York Yankees: Gleyber Torres leading off, playing second base. Juan Soto batting second. He'll be playing right field. The captain, Aaron Judge, batting third. He'll be playing center field. Behind the dish, behind the home plate, Austin Wells batting cleanup. Giancarlo Stanton batting fifth. He'll be DHing. Jazz Chisholm Jr. batting sixth. He'll be playing third base. Anthony Volpe playing shortstop. He'll be batting seventh. Anthony Rizzo playing first base. He is back, folks, batting eighth, and batting ninth, playing left field, Alex Verdugo. And on the mound today, left-handed pitcher Carlos Rodon.
Yeah. I'm looking at this lineup. Obviously, a lot of people were, you were hearing talks where people really wanted Giancarlo Stanton moved up in the 4-hole. Obviously, I see Ken saying, why the hell is Wells hitting in the 4-hole? The strategy's simple. You want to split the righties. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. So that way you can't really strategize against it. I mean, I understand you're not trying to change anything. I actually am for for right now, I don't think anything major needs to be done. Like, we just came off a good series win. Let's not panic. You know what I'm saying? Like, if adjustments need to be made later on, so be it. But as of right now, Austin Wells hitting in a 4-hole, I'm fine with it because they're splitting the righties, you know what I'm saying, Judge and Stanton. How do you feel about Stanton staying at 5 and Austin Wells staying in a 4-hole?
You know, look, I personally, and I talked about this on my show just a little bit ago. So I would have put Stanton at the number 4. I mean, I understand splitting up the righty lefty, but Stanton
would you have dropped Wells to 5?
I would have dropped Wells to 5.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I would have dropped Wells to 5. Just because Giancarlo, he's been red hot. He's been red hot. We know he's always red hot in the postseason. And you have another threat behind Aaron Judge. You got to, it's like, okay, let's say they get Aaron Judge out. It's like, oh boy, we got to face Giancarlo Stanton. He's another threat. So I think for this game, maybe the series, I mean, depending on how it all plays out, I would have had Giancarlo at the number 4 spot because, again, Wells, I mean, he hasn't been hitting for a little over a month now, so I don't know what's going on, but he's been in a little bit of a funk as of late.
He had one big hit in game 1.
Fire. What was that?
He did have a big hit for us in game 1.
True, he did. But there needs to be more of that, though, right? So we need to see more of that consistency. So but really, am I going to complain about the lineup? No, I'm not going to complain about the lineup. The lineup, I had a feeling this was what it was going to be, except for Rizzo in the number 8 spot. I wasn't expecting him in the lineup, but other than that, I don't have an issue with the lineup.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I don't think major changes need to be done right now.
Right.
I understand people are like, yo, move Stanton up because, you want to give that extra protection for Judge. But I'm not panicking just yet. Now, if we go down early in the series, by multiple games, then maybe, you know what I'm saying? It depends on how Austin Wells performing too. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just, we have to see how the series unfolds ultimately at the end of the day. But I'm also looking at, I think Anthony Volpe is going to have a big series. I think he was hitting the ball really hard. Came really close to like one home run, a couple hot shots to right field that will go out in Yankee Stadium. So I think he's kind of finding it. Volpe had really good at bats. Really only had the one strikeout, which was on a hit and run. Outside of that, I mean, on that play where Jazz was safe at second. But outside of that, like I said, I thought he's had really good at bats. Rizzo, we'll see what happens. Verdugo really had only the one hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how long until fans, start calling, the deal. You know what's up. Jason Dominguez is sitting on that bench, and fans are going to want him. But defensively, like, this is the best lineup. This is the thing. Keys to the game when it comes to this series, when it comes to the Guardians too. The Guardians, they don't scare me like that. I'm very confident going into this series. I think we're better than them. It's as simple as that. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that we can't lose this series, but I do think we're better. I think we have the better starting pitching. I think we have the better hitters. And bullpen, I think it's a wash. Clase is obviously the best arm out of that pen. The keys to the game for the Yankees this series, in my opinion, you got to get an early lead. You can't trail going into the 8th inning because then you're going to have to face Emmanuel Clase. And who knows what's going to happen there. It's going to be, we're going to have to get to their pitchers. Their pitchers are not good. We're going to have to hit them around. Defensively, we're going to have to be sound because we're playing a very sound defensive team. Like the Cleveland Guardians will give you some highlight plays in the field. They are a sound defensive squad. We only made the one error, which was that Anthony Volpe error in game 2. But outside of that, yeah, there
was a couple of them. Yeah, because there was one that he threw to second base and he threw it way off.
That was the one. No, that's the one I'm talking about. Which one are you talking about?
And then the other one was when he threw it over.
That wasn't an error. As much as people want to. Okay, he was going to his right. Okay, first of all, he was shifted. He was shifted for the lefty, right next to second base bag. Right, he's trailing. He has to. It's in the shift. Off balance throw goes over, but I think the runner beat it out anyway. They ruled it a single. They didn't rule it an error. Now, granted, there are people out there like that were snapping on him. Like, Any other player makes that play, and Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, blah, 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 but they ruled it a single. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not even about any other player makes that play. It's just, it was still way over. I mean, I know they ruled it a single, but I was like, that was like way over the head, man. I get it, but
I don't think it was an error. Like I said, I honestly think he would have beat it out regardless. That's why they ruled it an error, because him shifting back over to his right, off balance throw, I think he would have had it regardless. And then the ball didn't go out of play, so I don't think it was an error.
But I guess in my eyes it was an error.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. A lot of people were going in on him, but I'm gonna tell you this: like defensively, we're gonna have to play sound. It's as simple as that. Especially when you have Clay Holmes come in. Who, let's talk about it. Clay Holmes is on fire. I think he's setting the record for most consecutive scoreless streaks to start for a Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Clay Holmes has pitched very well, especially in the role he's been in. Aaron Boone took him out of that closer role. Do you think it's more of he took him out of the closer role, or is this just playoff Clay? What do you think?
I think it's just because he got taken out of the closer role, because if you remember, even before the season ended, we saw a different version of Clay Holmes. The fact that he didn't have to close games anymore, he looked a lot more comfortable out there. He didn't look flustered, because Clay Holmes walks a couple of guys. When he has to close a game, he loses control. So before the season even ended, he looked more comfortable. He looked like the Clay Holmes that we all know. As long as he's not closing a game, he looks comfortable out there. And postseason Clay, I mean, we're seeing a much different Clay Holmes in a non-closer role. So I think him being taken out of that closer role, I think it's done him well. Playoff Clay, I wouldn't say it's playoff Clay. I think it's just we're seeing the real Clay Holmes. We are, just as long as he's not closing a game. I think we're gonna truly see who Clay Holmes really is.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, special shout outs to Luke Weaver for being able to come in that closer role and shut it down. Luke Weaver, like, I don't know. I got the utmost faith in Weaver. Like, when he comes in, even in multi-innings, I'm like, we got this. Like, we're gonna get this shit done. Even if he does allow a hit or two, I got a lot of faith in him. What do you think about Weaver?
I like Luke Weaver. Look, I'm gonna kind of go on a rant here. Because Luke Weaver, I remember when the Yankees signed him in the offseason, there were so many fans out there that were bashing that signing, saying that this is a dumpster dive move by Brian Cashman. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's not a World Series move. That's not World Series caliber. Who the hell is this Luke Weaver guy? And look what he's doing. Even before he got moved into that closer role, the guy was shoving. Before when he was brought in to pitch 2-3 innings in a game, the guy he pitched well. He was phenomenal coming out of that bullpen, and ever since he got moved to that closer role, he has fulfilled that role quite well. So I have no issues with Luke Weaver. I am glad. This is a guy again that a lot of fans are calling a dumpster dive move by Brian Cashman, but this dumpster dive move is making things happen in the postseason. And the dumpster kids are in the ALCS. Exactly. I was making a joke the other day with Jason from 161 about, it's the New York dumpster dive Yankees. So, they're making it happen.
Yeah. Oh, I was there. I heard that take by Jason. Sit Aaron Judge for Jason Dominguez. I saw your face on that. Aaron Judge, that's a good segue. Let's talk about Aaron Judge. Slow start to the series.
Yeah.
Still isn't hitting well. Got on base a few times in the end of game 4, I should say. Do you feel like he's kind of rounding the corner? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like he's close. A couple of balls were hit hard. Struck out a lot early in the series. Obviously, the first 2 games, same situation. 2 runners on, nobody out. Came up, struck out, didn't really help us out there. But I do feel like he had better at bats as the series went on. It's as simple as this. We're not going to win this series without Aaron Judge. He needs to step up. Like, he really needs to step up. I'm not saying you need to go out there and hit a home run every at bat, but you need to put the ball in play and have yourself some good at bats, because we're only going to really go as like the other guys stepped up this series in the ALCS, DS, I should say. But we're going to need other guys to step up. Judge and Soto are going to have to help carry this team. What do you think about Judge?
Well, I mean, look, Judge, I don't know what it is in him in postseason. I don't know if it's just because he's pressing too much. He's trying too hard. I think he's overdoing it. But I will say, in the last 2 games in the series against Kansas City, his bat was starting to come around. He was making contact with the ball. Now, granted, it didn't turn, all those hit balls didn't turn into something positive like a hit or a home run, but he was making contact with the ball. He was hitting the ball hard. He did get a couple of hits, especially in I believe game 4, right? Game 3 and 4. He did have a couple of key hits, right? So
no, game 4, he
game 4
had a hit
okay.
and a couple walks. Yeah.
Okay. So that was, to me, that was a good sign. I'm like, okay, he's starting to see the pitches. He's starting to see the ball. So Judge is turning the corner. I think this championship series, I think Judge, I think he's gonna knock it out of the park. Not like home run, but I'm saying he's gonna do well in this championship series. I think we're gonna see a different Aaron Judge in this championship series, because his bat was starting to turn the corner. And I'm starting to think too, if maybe, having almost a week off before the division series might have cooled him down a little bit.
He was struggling in September a little bit too, because remember, he was on that pace to break his, he was struggling going into it a little bit.
He was. You're right about that. But he still had a little bit of fire under him though before the regular season ended. But I feel like having almost a week off, I think he might have cooled off a little bit. But then again, when it comes to postseason Judge, his numbers are not exactly the greatest. But it was encouraging to see him in games 3 and 4 against the Royals. That bat was starting to come around, So I was like, okay, this is a good sign. So hopefully, I know they just had a few days off, but hopefully he's ready to go and he kills it in this series. I would love for him to be the ALCS MVP.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in a second. We'll get into the MVP. Let's go to keys to the game. We got a couple more segments to do keys to the game. For me, it's as simple as this: our starting pitchers got to perform well, and our bats got to get going. Because, like I said, I believe when it comes to both of our bullpens, it's a wash at the end of the day. It can go to either one. They got good arms. We have good arms. But if we can get ourselves a nice lead in this series, in this game, I feel like we can shut them down. What we don't need to do, like I said earlier, is be down past the 7th inning, because then that's when they have some really good arms coming in the pen that can shut us down as well. We're not going to see a lot of lefties in this series. So that's the one thing we struggle against. But Emmanuel Clase is the best closer in the league. So my keys to the game for the Yankees: get off to a good start, get the bats going, shut them down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think today, like I said, we'll be using the bullpen a lot with Carlos Rodon in the bump. But then you're going to have Garrett Cole back on regular rest, as Garrett Cole in game 1 of the DS, he didn't look bad. He didn't look terrible, but he was getting hit hard. He wasn't on his regular routine. He's being a little diva-ish. He needs to be on his regular routine and stuff. But then once he was on his regular routine in game 4, he shut him down. So those are my keys to the game. You have anything you want to add to that?
Situational hitting. I mean, that like I said, man, the bat, I'm not worried about the pitching. It's the bats. Also, stop hitting the first pitch. Work the count. Work the pitcher. Although I will say the Yankees in the division series, they did do a good job of working the starting pitchers.
Reagans and Lugo. Yep.
Yeah, and that's huge, right? But stop swinging at the first pitch. Like take the first pitch. Make these guys work. We walked
a lot too in the DS. We had a lot of walks in the DS.
Yeah, and and they need to be better with runners in scoring position. Stop leaving so many guys on base. Yep. Those are my keys to the game. I just feel like the bats need to get it going. I have faith in our pitching. I'm confident in the pitching, whether it's the starting rotation or the bullpen. I feel like they can get the job done. But it's really the offense. If the offense could get it done, they just need to stop leaving so many guys on base and be better about runners in scoring position.
Yeah. That's something that's plagued us. When the Yankees are at their worst is when we're leaving like a small village and a small country on base. You know what I'm saying? We saw that plague us throughout the entire regular season. Showed up a little bit in game 4. I mean, game 2, I should say. But we left a lot of guys on, especially early on when we really had an opportunity to really put our stamp on that game. And that's the thing. You got to get off to a good start. It's as simple as that. All right. So you had mentioned your MVP. You think your MVP is going to be Aaron Judge is what you said?
I'm going to go Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any home runs for Judge this series?
I think he's going to hit one tonight.
Okay.
I think he'll hit one tonight. I think he'll hit one. I think he's going to hit a bomb tonight. I don't know if it's going to be a solo shot or 2-run shot, but I have a feeling he'll hit one.
Yeah. If Ken is usually on it, but Ken is usually on it with the stats. If this is true, like I said, 4 for 48 runs in scoring position in the division series was crazy.
Yeah.
Like you got to, even if you get hits with half of those on base, you're demolishing the team. And that's the one thing we haven't really seen this playoffs. We haven't really seen that big inning that we're used to from the Yankees. We put up a 4, 5, 6 spot. You know what I'm saying? So that makes me think that we are due. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. My MVP of this series, I'm gonna give it to Juan Soto. Juan Soto, bigger stage for him. This is usually where he shows up. Honorable mention, I think Volpe is going to have a good series as well. Like I said, I loved what he was doing. Pitching wise, you got an MVP pitching wise?
Pitching wise, MVP. I mean, if I had to predict, shoot, man. You know, it's like I could go Clay, I could go Luke Weaver, I could go Garrett Cole. You know, but I think I got to give it to Weaver, man. I'm going to give it to Weaver.
Yeah. Same, which I'm saying right there with you. Luke Weaver's got to be able to shut the door.
Yeah.
But I'm also interested to see Luis Hill. We haven't seen him pitch in a long time. How is he going to be on game 4? You know what I'm saying? Especially on the road. You know what I'm saying? We will see what happens. All right. So final segment. I also want to know you guys in the chat predictions for this series. Also, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so. I will be live calling the game. Let me go ahead and drop the link again to NFE's channel. Make sure you guys go over there, subscribe to him. What's your prediction for this series? What'd you say? You said 5 in the DS, right?
I did.
Okay.
So this championship series, I got the Yankees in 6.
Okay. Yankees in 6.
Yep.
I also have the Yankees in 6. I'm going to tell you this. I hope I'm wrong. I think we lose tonight. I think with Carlos Rodon on the bump, the Guardians play lefty pitchers very well. I think we lose both Rodon starts. I think Rodon comes out shaky. Good chance we could lose tonight. And I think Cole shuts him down tomorrow. Yankees are a very good road team. I think we take 2 in a row in Cleveland. I think they get game 5, and I think we finish them out in with Cole on the mound in game 6 in the Bronx.
I get that. I could see a series. I could see Cleveland splitting with the Yankees at the stadium, and then going back to Cleveland, and I could see the Yankees taking a 1-1 going back to Cleveland. 2-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming back to New York.
No, it's 3 in Cleveland.
Or 3 in Cleveland. So, okay, so I could see
it's 2-3-2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3-2. So I could see the Yankees taking 2 in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then coming back for game 6 to seal the deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, on that, I'm not a big fan of that playoff format for the CS. 2-3-2 really doesn't feel like it's home field advantage, because just like what the Mets are doing right now, the Mets are up 6-0 on the Dodgers. They take one game. Now they have home field advantage where they might not even have to go back to the Dodgers. You know, so I feel like that format isn't really a good home field advantage. But those last 2 games could pay off. You know, Yankees are a very good team on the road. I think we get it done. Same thing, same kind of formula in the DS. We'll split 1 in the stadium. I think Rodon comes out okay tonight. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I'm never root for this team to lose, but I think Rodon a little bit shaky tonight. And then I think Cole shuts him down, get 2 in Cleveland, lose the last one, and then we'll win it. We'll finish it off in the Bronx. A couple people says Nosebleed says Yankees in 6. Dev says in 5. Okay, gentleman sweep. Ray says Yankees in 6. Rodon 6 innings pitched, 9 Ks, 4 hits, one run, 3 walks. How you feeling about that? Sean says.
I mean, hey, if he could go 6 innings, I'll take that from Rodon. But you know, for me, I got Rodon going 5 innings tonight.
Yankees. Oh, so Ken. Oh no, 4-1. Yankees win 2 in Cleveland, 2 in New York. Sean says Yankees in 5. Yankees says Yankees in 6. Lou says Yankees in 6. If we win tonight, we should win with Cole tomorrow. Big game, obviously. Yeah, of course. Today's a big game. It's as simple as that. Like,
yes.
The Guardians are a good team. We handled our business. We beat them 4-2 in the regular series. You know, so we took 2 out of 3 in both series. I feel confident that we can beat them again, and we're 4 wins away from the big dance, getting back to the World Series for the first time since 2009. I really hope we do it this year, man. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, this is the year to do it. It really is. You know, not because I'm saying that this is an easy path, like some fans said, because there's no easy path when it comes to the postseason.
Nope.
I understand the Orioles and Astros were eliminated, but you don't sleep on the other teams. You just don't.
Yeah.
But this is the year. I mean, if there's a year to do it, I mean, this is it right here. And I feel much better about the 2024 New York Yankees than I did about the 2022 New York Yankees. I'm not going to lie. Not because we're playing against the Guardians. It's just I feel like this team's chemistry and the way this team is built compared to what we saw in 2022, I like this 2024 team much better.
Going against a familiar foe. We've taken the last 2 playoff series against them. So hopefully we can make it 3 in a row and get a W and make it to the World Series. And if we do, I'm going to bring my guy NFE back on. Also, shout out to Erica. She couldn't make it today, but hopefully if we make it to the next round, I'll bring you both back on and we'll have a good time. But appreciate you for coming on, man. This was another great chat.
Thanks for having
me. No problem at all, man. Tell the people where they can find you at.
Yeah, folks, you could find me on YouTube. You know, the link is in the channel. I know Ace put it out there. If you have X, that's my Twitter handle on the bottom. So if you're on X, you could add me on X, and you can follow me there too. I do a lot of reposts, and I'll put out some tweets or whatever. But mainly YouTube though. I mean, I'm always on YouTube, so I'm always going live. I go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. I try to, you know, during the regular season, I'm live pretty much every day. As long as there's a game, I go live for the morning shows, pre-games, sometimes post-games. Sometimes I'll do the play-by-play. So just always be on the lookout.
Yeah, got you. Does a good show over there. Definitely go check him out. I love featuring over there as well. And as far as me, you guys know what I do. I'll be live tonight for the New York Yankees game 1 ALCS. Guardians versus our Yankees, where we are 4 wins away from the World Series. You guys are incredible. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe to both channels, and I'll see you guys in about a little less than 2 hours. And let's go Yankees.
Let's go.
As always, thank you for tuning in to the Ace Avenue. I'm yours truly, the Ace, with my guy NFE this way. It's always a different way when you're
good.
With my guy NFE. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you guys. Adios.